Coins may look small, but they carry huge stories, especially when we're talking about the U.S. state and America, the beautiful quarter series. These aren't just coins. They're mini time machines that take us through history, culture, and powerful symbolism. From state pride to national parks, each quarter tells us something incredible about America's journey. In this video, we'll explore some standout coins, the Georgia, New York, and Connecticut state quarters, plus the unique American Samoa quarter. Each of these quarters has something rare, valuable, or just downright fascinating. And by the end, you'll never look at your spare change the same way again. First up, 1999 Georgia State Quarter. The 1999 Georgia State Quarter isn't just a piece of metal. It's a small but rich piece of history in your pocket. It was released as the fourth coin in the U.S. Mint's 50 State Quarters program and was officially launched on July 19, 1999. This coin represents the state of Georgia in all its southern charm and historical depth. From the design to the symbolism, every detail of this quarter tells a story about the Peach State. Let's begin with the obverse. Like all state quarters, the front of the Georgia quarter features a classic and familiar portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. His proud, stoic face is a constant reminder of America's roots and leadership. You'll find the words United States of America, Liberty, In God We Trust, and $quarter circling the design. Standard, yes, but also a grounding point for the beautifully crafted reverse side. Now flip that coin over. The reverse of the Georgia State Quarter features the outline of the state of Georgia, prominently placed in the center. Inside that outline is a peach, and if there's one thing Georgia's famous for, it's peaches. It's not called the Peach State for nothing. That luscious fruit represents Georgia's agricultural pride and its significance to the state's identity and economy. But the design doesn't stop at a peach. Surrounding the state silhouette are live oak sprigs, Georgia's official state tree. These branches represent strength, endurance, and natural beauty, key traits of Georgia's landscape and its people. The words wisdom, justice, and moderation are etched into a banner that wraps around the peach. These are Georgia's founding principles and are taken directly from the state's constitution. It's a powerful statement, a simple design with deep meaning. This quarter was designed by T. James Farrell, an engraver at the U.S. Mint, who managed to pack in Georgia's identity with elegance and balance. It's clean, symbolic, and full of state pride. Now let's talk mintage. The 1999 Georgia quarter was minted in large numbers. Because, hey, it was one of the early releases in a hot new program that got collectors and the public excited. The Philadelphia Mint struck about 451 million coins, while the Denver Mint produced around 488 million. That's a massive quantity. But still, condition matters. If you happen to find a Georgia quarter in uncirculated condition, or even better, in proof condition, it can be worth far more than face value. Collectors look for sharp strikes, no wear, strong luster, and especially full details on the oak leaves and peach. And speaking of proof coins, the San Francisco Mint released both clad and silver proof versions of the Georgia quarter for collectors. These proofs are mirror-like, highly detailed, and produced in limited numbers. The silver proof, especially, is a popular item due to its metal content and beauty. Now, are there any errors or rare varieties to watch for with this coin? Well, while the Georgia State Quarter doesn't have a long list of wild mint errors like some others, there are still die cracks, double dies, off-center strikes, and clip planchets found occasionally. These types of errors can drive up value significantly, some even fetching $50 to $150 plus depending on severity and demand. So, it's always worth inspecting your quarters closely. What might look like just pocket change could actually be a valuable collector's piece. Let's not forget the historical context. Georgia was one of the original 13 colonies and holds a pivotal place in U.S. history. From Revolutionary War battles to the Civil Rights Movement, this quarter honors that deep legacy. When it was released in 1999, the U.S. Mint had just launched the 50 State Quarters program that same year, and the idea was to release 5 new state quarters annually in the order the states joined the Union. Georgia was the fourth state to ratify the U.S. Constitution, hence its position as the fourth coin. The coin didn't just serve as money. It became a classroom tool, a collector's favorite, and a symbol of state pride. People started paying attention to their change, Children began collecting coins, and even non-collectors started getting curious about which state was next. So, how does the Georgia quarter fit into the wider collector's world today? It's a steady, classic piece. It may not be ultra-rare in circulated form, but in mint condition or with a unique error, it can be both a centerpiece and a conversation starter. Collectors often aim to complete the full 50-state quarter set, and the Georgia quarter, being among the first released, holds nostalgic value for many. In terms of value, a regular worn Georgia quarter still spends like 25 cents. But an uncirculated MS-65 coin might sell for $2 to $5, and proof versions, especially silver ones, can fetch $8 to $15 or more. And if you hit the jackpot and discover a dramatic mint error, you're looking at serious profit potential. One final point worth noting is how the 50-state quarters program changed how Americans saw their money. Coins went from being overlooked to being cherished. The Georgia quarter played a part in that revolution, and even today, over 2 decades later, people still hold on to it. So, next time you see a Georgia quarter, don't just toss it in the jar. Take a moment to look at the peach, the oak, the banner, the outline of the state. This little coin carries a big story, one of history, heritage, and Southern pride. Next up, 2001 New York State Quarter. The 2001 New York State Quarter is more than just a tribute to the Empire State. It's a bold symbol of freedom, progress, and American spirit. As part of the U.S. Mint's legendary 50-state quarters program, this coin was released on January 2nd, 2001, and quickly became a favorite among collectors and history lovers alike. Let's start with the obvious, Lady Liberty. Front and center on the reverse of the New York quarter is the Statue of Liberty, standing tall with her torch lifted high. She's not just a statue, she's an icon, a global symbol of hope and freedom. She represents not only New York, but what America stands for as a whole. Her presence on this coin speaks volumes without saying a word. Now take a look behind her. You'll notice a detailed outline of New York State, carefully engraved. But that's not all. Over that outline is a trail of 11 stars, representing New York as the 11th state to ratify the Constitution in 1788. It's a subtle but meaningful detail that ties the design to the nation's roots. And flying right over the state outline is the bold inscription, Gateway to Freedom. These words don't just sit there, they command attention. That phrase captures New York's historical role as the entry point for millions of immigrants who came to the United States seeking a better life. Through Ellis Island, New York welcomed the world, and this coin immortalizes that moment in American history. This design was a work of Alfred Miletsky, with sculpting by William Cousins, and it does a fantastic job of packing New York's legacy into a 25-cent canvas. Let's flip to the obverse for a moment. Just like all coins in the State Quarter series, the front features George Washington's portrait, created by John Flanagan. It's the classic look, United States of America, Liberty, In God We Trust, and $quarter surround Washington's profile. It's a familiar sight, but paired with a state-specific reverse, it creates something truly collectible. Now, let's talk mintage and value. The New York State Quarter was minted in huge numbers due to high demand and national excitement around the series. At the Philadelphia Mint, they struck over 655 million coins, and the Denver Mint contributed around 619 million. That's a massive amount. So yes, most of these quarters are still only worth face value in circulated condition. But if you're a collector, you already know it's all about condition and rarity. Uncirculated New York quarters in MS-65 condition, Mint State 65, can bring in around $2 to $5. If you got one graded MS-67 or higher, now you're talking $50 to $150, maybe more, depending on the market. Also, don't forget the proof versions from the San Francisco Mint. These came in both clad and 90% silver varieties. The silver proofs, especially in pristine condition, are real eye-catchers with their mirror-like finish and sharp details. Many collectors prize these versions and keep them sealed away in sets. Let's dive into errors and varieties, because this is where things can get exciting. While the New York State Quarter doesn't have a massive catalog of known minting errors, a few types do stand out. Off-center strikes, where the design is misaligned. Clip planchets, where a portion of the coin is cut off. Double dies, though rarer, are sometimes found on lettering or Liberty's torch. Die cracks, small lines that can form cool spiderweb patterns or interesting textures. Any of these errors can boost your coin's value by $20 to hundreds of dollars, depending on severity and collector demand. Now, let's zoom out and appreciate the bigger meaning of this coin. New York isn't just any state. It's the cultural, financial, and historical heart of the U.S. It's home to Wall Street, Broadway, Central Park, the United Nations, and, of course, Lady Liberty. And when the coin was released in 2001, no one knew what was coming later that year. Yes, this coin was minted just months before the September 11th attacks, which forever changed the city and the country. In that context, the design's emphasis on liberty, freedom, and the immigrant journey becomes even more powerful. It unintentionally became a tribute to resilience. Some collectors see this coin through that lens, a pre-9/11 design that unknowingly captured the very spirit New York would need to call upon later that year. As part of the 50 State Quarters program, the New York Quarter played a role in one of the U.S. Mint's most successful public engagement efforts ever. The program got millions of people interested in coins. Kids started collecting. Families checked their change, and history suddenly felt closer to home. The New York coin, in particular, brought in collectors from around the globe. Tourists visiting New York wanted one. Immigrants who entered the country through Ellis Island cherished it. It wasn't just a coin, it was a keepsake, a memory, a symbol. So if you got a New York quarter in your pocket, flip it over and really look at it. See the Statue of Liberty? Think of the people she welcomed. See the state outline? Imagine the cities, the upstate forests, the lakes, the people. See the stars? They represent not just New York's place in history, but the hope and dreams of those who made it their home. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just starting out. Next up, 1999 Connecticut State Quarter. When it comes to state quarters that perfectly blend history, symbolism, and natural beauty, the 1999 Connecticut State Quarter is in a league of its own. Released as part of the U.S. Mint's 50 State Quarters program, this coin dropped on October 12, 1999, and it quickly stood out, thanks to one iconic image, the Charter Oak. Now, if you're just holding the coin for the first time, the reverse might seem simple at a glance. Just a big, leafless tree, right? But trust me, this is no ordinary tree. The Charter Oak is a legendary symbol in Connecticut's history and represents the very roots of American freedom and resistance. Let's rewind a bit to the 1600s. Back then, Connecticut was a British colony, and in 1662, King Charles II had granted a royal charter that gave the colony a high degree of autonomy. But when James II became king, he wanted to take that freedom back. In 1687, he sent an official named Sir Edmund Andros to confiscate the charter and centralize control under the dominion of New England. Sounds intense, right? Here's where it gets cinematic. During a tense meeting, the lights were suddenly extinguished, and someone snatched the charter and hid it inside the hollow trunk of the Charter Oak tree to keep it safe from British hands. That move turned the tree into a symbol of defiance, courage, and American self-governance long before the Revolution even began. That's the story this coin tells. The design on the reverse side of the Connecticut Quarter shows a sprawling, leafless Charter Oak, its branches twisting and turning with strength and resilience. The level of detail is impressive. You can actually see the texture of the bark and the complexity of the limbs. It was designed by T. James Farrell, who captured the essence of the story without needing a single word to explain it. The top of the coin reads Connecticut, with the year 1788 underneath it, marking the year Connecticut became the fifth state to ratify the U.S. Constitution. Below the image of the tree are the words "a Charter Oak." And of course, the coin's release year, 1999. Flip it over, and as usual, you'll find George Washington's iconic profile on the obverse, created by John Flanagan. It's a look you know by heart. United States of America, liberty, in God we trust, and $quarter. Clean, bold, and familiar. Let's talk mintage, because like every coin, rarity depends on how many were made. The Philadelphia Mint struck about 688 million Connecticut quarters, and the Denver Mint produced roughly 657 million. That's a ton. So yes, in circulated condition, it's not rare. You'll find them in pocket change all the time. But if you come across a mint state version, especially MS-65 or above, that's where collector value kicks in. A coin in MS-67 condition can go for $25 to $100, and even more if it's from a trusted grading company like PCGS or NGC. And don't forget the proof versions from the San Francisco Mint. These were made specifically for collectors. There are clad proofs, which are beautiful and mirror-like, and 90% silver proofs, which are absolutely stunning. The silver proof version is especially popular due to both its quality and metal content, often selling for $8 to $20 depending on the market. Now here's where things get spicy: errors and varieties. While the Connecticut Quarter doesn't have tons of well-known errors, there are a few things to keep an eye out for. Double die reverses, which may show slight doubling on the text or tree branches. Off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing or shifted. Die chips in the tree limbs, which can sometimes look like extra leaves or odd bumps. Clipped planchets or broad strikes, which are always favorites among error collectors. These error coins can fetch anywhere from $20 to several $100s, depending on rarity and condition. So if you ever spot a Connecticut Quarter that looks off, take a closer look. You might be holding a rare gem. But beyond its physical value, the symbolism of the charter oak makes this coin truly special. Most states chose animals, buildings, or landmarks for their quarter designs. Connecticut went with a tree, but not just any tree. A tree that tells a story of resistance. A tree that sheltered one of the earliest acts of American rebellion. A tree that stood tall against tyranny and helped define the spirit of the people. What's also cool is how this coin quietly became one of the most detailed designs in the entire 50-state quarter series. That intricate web of branches, it's not just art, it's history etched into metal. The coin's simplicity makes it elegant, but the story behind it gives it real weight. Now let's get personal. If you grew up in Connecticut or have family ties there, or maybe even visited the state, you know how much the charter oak means. There are schools, businesses, insurance companies, and even beer brands named after it. The original tree fell in a storm in 1856, but wood from the tree was used to create furniture, like a chair that now sits in the Connecticut State Capitol. That's how seriously people take this piece of their past. So what's the bottom line? Whether you're a casual collector or a history geek, the 1999 Connecticut Quarter is a must-have. Not just because of how it looks or what it's worth, but because of what it stands for. It's a reminder that American freedom didn't just begin with the Declaration of Independence. It started with small acts of courage, like hiding a charter in an old oak tree. So next time you're flipping through your change and come across this quarter, take a closer look. Feel the texture. Next up, 2020 National Park of American Samoa Quarter. All right. Now this one's a showstopper. The 2020 National Park of American Samoa Quarter didn't just turn heads when it was released. It basically went viral. Why? 2 words. Bat. Babies. Yep. If you've seen this coin before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This quarter was part of the America, the Beautiful Quarters program, a series launched by the U.S. Mint in 2010 to highlight national parks and historical sites in all U.S. states and territories. And when it came time for American Samoa, the U.S. territory in the South Pacific, they chose something totally unexpected, but deeply meaningful: the Samoan fruit bat. Now let's set the scene. The reverse of this 2020 quarter features a mother Samoan fruit bat hanging upside down from a tree, cradling her pup beneath her wings. The design is tender, natural, and honestly pretty emotional. It's not every day you see maternal love and wildlife conservation shown so beautifully on a coin. And in a country where coins often feature eagles, buildings, or presidents, this bat duo made a bold, refreshing statement. Designed by Richard Masters and sculpted by Phoebe Hemphill, the artwork is based on real conservation imagery. The Samoan fruit bat is a vulnerable species, and American Samoa is one of the few places where these gentle giants are protected. The design highlights the need to protect these unique creatures and the rich biodiversity of Pacific Island ecosystems. Now, don't let the cuteness fool you. This bat has a 6-foot wingspan in real life. But despite their size, these animals are harmless herbivores, feeding on fruits and playing a vital role in pollination and seed dispersal. Their presence in the American Samoa National Park is critical to the health of the local environment. Around the image, the coin reads, National Park, American Samoa, 2020, and E Pluribus Unum. It's clean and sharp, with that bat image taking center stage. No distractions, just the story of a mother protecting her young. And let's be real, it couldn't have come at a better time. Released in early 2020, this quarter dropped right around when the world was beginning to face the COVID-19 pandemic. And while there's absolutely no connection between this fruit bat and the virus, the symbolism of care, resilience, and nature's fragility struck a chord with people around the world. Now flip it to the obverse, and we're back to the classic profile of George Washington, originally designed by John Flanagan. But this version has been slightly refreshed for the America the Beautiful series, with the inscriptions United States of America, Liberty, In God We Trust, and $quarter arranged in a more modern format. When it comes to mintage, the 2020 American Samoa quarter saw solid production numbers, but not as massive as some older state quarters. The Philadelphia Mint P produced around 286 million. The Denver Mint D made about 212 million. The San Francisco Mint S released special proof versions, both clad proofs and silver proofs for collectors. In circulated condition, these coins are still commonly found and worth face value. But uncirculated coins in MS65 plus condition can fetch around $3 to $10, and pristine MS67 or higher examples have been known to bring $30 or more at auctions. But the real appeal of this coin isn't in the numbers, it's in its viral popularity. When it was first released, social media exploded. People weren't just collecting it, they were sharing it, photographing it, creating memes, even writing poems about it. There's something universally touching about a mother bat and her baby. It gave people hope. It gave people something to smile about in a very uncertain time. Collectors absolutely love this coin because it checks all the boxes. White heavy checkmark unique design. White heavy checkmark strong emotional connection. White heavy checkmark represents a U.S. territory rarely seen on coins. White heavy checkmark highlights wildlife conservation. White heavy checkmark tied to a memorable time in recent history. As for error coins, there have been reports of a few fun varieties. Die chips near the bat's wings or snout. Cuds, raised blobs from broken dies. Off-center strikes and broad strikes. And some struck through debris examples, adding texture or weird patterns. These errors aren't super common, but if you find one, they can be worth anywhere from $10 to $200 plus depending on the severity and demand. Now here's the thing. Beyond being just a quarter, this coin has become a conservation symbol. The National Park of American Samoa isn't well known compared to places like Yellowstone or Yosemite, but it's incredibly special. It's the only U.S. national park located south of the equator, and it spans 3 islands, Tutuila, Ofu, and Taiyu. It protects not only rare bats, but also pristine coral reefs, volcanic mountains, rainforests, and deep Polynesian cultural traditions, including American Samoa in the America the Beautiful series, helped shine a light on these beautiful islands and their heritage. For locals, it's more than just a coin, it's a piece of identity. For Americans on the mainland, it's a reminder of how vast and diverse the U.S. truly is. If you're building a coin collection with heart, this quarter deserves a prime spot. It's not just beautiful, it's memorable, modern, and meaningful. And for younger collectors, this was often the first quarter they actually cared about.